welcome you to the Lipscomb Soccer Complex for the semifinal round of the Fall 2021 ASUN Men's Soccer Championship. Today's contest features the 4-seeded Stetson Hatters and the number 1 seed Lipscomb Bisons. And now let's meet the starters from Stetson. All-Conference First Team, number 2, Alvaro Gabancho. Number 3, Maxime Oleon. Number 4, Daniel Wintermeyer. All-Freshman Team, number 5, Steven Johnson. All-Conference Second Team, number 6, Will Suat. Freshman of the Year and All-Conference First Team, number 9, Nelson Pereira. All-Conference Second Team, number 10, Gio Rodriguez. Number 12, Jacob Gruber. All-Academic Team, number 17, Oliver Brynus. Number 22, Tom DiLorenzo. All-Freshman Team, number 29, Alessandro Gabani. The head coach of Stetson is Emmett Rutkowski. And now for today's starters for the Bisons. Number 1, Michael Sibley. Number 5, Honore Kalala. All-Freshman Team, number 6, Carlo Cavalar. All-Conference Second Team and All-Academic Team, number 7, Louis Robinson. All-Conference Second Team, number 8, Luca Nauman. Number 10, Alejandro Lopez. Number 12, Javon Smith. Number 15, Bakari Bagayoko. All-Conference Second Team, number 18, Hayes Wood. Number 19, Will Turner. Scholar Athlete of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, and All-Conference First Team, number 29, Noah Golden. The head coach of Lipscomb is Charles Morrow. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we ask that you please rise, remove your caps, and honor America for the playing of our national anthem.
Well, good afternoon and welcome to Lipscomb University here as we get set for ASUN championship action as we've got the ASUN men's soccer semifinals between Lipscomb and Stetson. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Lipscomb Soccer Complex. Justin Seaman alongside Noah Severson and Erica Plunkett as we are getting ready for this one. Should be a great match. Beautiful weather this afternoon here in Nashville. You really couldn't ask for anything better for an ASUN semifinal game. About 64 degrees and sunny, no clouds in the sky, kind of that perfect temperature, not too hot, not too cold, really just right. And this should be, Noah, a fantastic match here today, a rematch for earlier in the season. Lipscomb, the number 1 seed, 10-3-2 overall, 5-2 in the conference. Stetson, the number 4 seed, 8-6-2, 4-3. But one of those 4 wins in the conference, Stetson came to this Lipscomb soccer complex and got an overtime win against Lipscomb.
They did. I had the opportunity to call that game. Just a weird game, especially for Lipscomb. One of the more disappointing losses of the season for Lipscomb. They have just been coming off a loss to Butler earlier that week. That, of course, snapped that 7-match unbeaten streak that the Bisons had going. And they came in, they gave up an own goal, then they went up 2-1, gave away another goal in the final 5 minutes of regulation to send things to overtime, tied 2-2. And then Stetson just with a stunner of a goal from Felix Akerberg to hand the Hatters that overtime win here in Nashville. So Lipscomb, not that you need any extra motivation when you're playing for your season, but they certainly have that extra motivation taking on a team that obviously dealt them that loss earlier in the regular season.
And Erica, this is a series between Lipscomb and Stetson as we get underway that's been pretty close. The last 10 times these teams have played, 5-5. That's the record between them. But Stetson has had a little bit of Lipscomb's number. 4 out of the last 6 matches against Lipscomb, Stetson has won. So Stetson very comfortable playing here at the Lipscomb Soccer Complex.
Which is especially impressive when you look at the success that Lipscomb's had over the last few years. Stetson is more of the scrappy team. Lipscomb's the better team on paper, but you never know what you're going to get from Stetson. And they're going to have to be especially cognizant tonight. They are without starting center back Noah Golden, who is still out, or rather Scott Golden, who's still out with injury. William Turner dropped back into that position alongside Andre Clara, so they'll have to keep an eye out and make sure that they're a lot more technically sound on defense than they were in that first match.
Touchdown in the offensive end for Lipscomb. Now moving back is Stetson on the right side. That one cut off by Lipscomb, as Lipscomb going to be playing without one of their key defenders. Scott Golden not going to be in the lineup. He was injured in that last game against Central Arkansas. So Lipscomb without one of their key contributors. You know, both of these teams, 7 selections on the all-conference selections this year. So you've got talent all around. There's a shot into the box, and they're going to say Lipscomb was offside that time, as Alejandro Lopez, I believe, was the one who was offside for the Bisons.
You talk about the absence of a guy like Scott Golden, first team all-conference selection. Of course, his twin brother Noah Golden, that means is going to have to carry the load a little bit. You're going to miss Scott's 4 goals, but more importantly, you're going to miss his presence there on that back line. And so Lipscomb is going to be really counting on the young William Turner to step up and communicate with Honore Kalala back there, because Stetson has a really good pair of forwards.
There is Turner touching it there. Now goes over right side to Golden. Golden pushing it forward. Gets a touchdown. Lipscomb centers it, and that one cleared away nicely by the Hatters.
You mentioned how much they're going to miss Scott, but let's talk about Noah, Defensive Player of the Year in the ASUN. He can do it all on both ends of the ball. He's a defensive stalwart for the Bisons as well as an offensive threat.
Deep throw into the box. And that one cleared out, and now trying to track it down quickly for Stetson. Able to get down there is Oliver Brynoose. Brynoose, very talented player for the Hatters in his own right.
I was talking about those pair of forwards for Stetson that are going to be super important for the Hatters in terms of their offense. Nelson Pereira, of course, leads the conference in goals, and then Brynoose, who notched a goal the last time these 2 teams played.
Gabancho, first team All-ASUN defender in the back as well. Lipscomb will have to deal with. Be early on to see Lipscomb fantastic this season when scoring the first goal. They are 8-0 this year when they score the first goal. So you got to think Coach Charles Morrow, who is in his 17th year for Lipscomb, one of the messages, let's get our offense going here early, and we haven't touched on it too much yet, as that one played back to Sibley, and Michael Sibley goes over to Honore. But both of these teams really in a lot of the offensive categories, number 1 and number 2. Lipscomb number 1, Stetson number 2. That one touched up and played that time by Jacob Gruber.
Veteran defending there by Gabancho. We'll be calling out his name a lot. You've already mentioned him, the sophomore from Spain, and he's going to have his hands full with Javon Smith up front.
Sent back to Wintermeyer. Over to Gabancho. Gabancho sends one deep into the corner. Tom DiLorenzo was over there trying to track it down for the Hatters, but it goes out, but it'll still be Lipscomb's ball, but deep in Stetson territory. Lopez losing it off of his foot, and Gabancho will track it down. Stetson coming in, as I mentioned, 4 seed, 8-6-2, 4-3 in the ASUN. They defeated Liberty on Friday night, 3-0 to reach the ASUN semifinals. That was the first ever matchup in the ASUN semifinals between those two teams. Liberty now moves to 0-4 all time in the ASUN Conference Tournament. Tough break for them.
It was an impressive win for Stetson, though. I mean, 3-0. They really handled the Flames. Liberty, a solid squad all year long. They gave Lipscomb all they could handle in the regular season here in Nashville. So Stetson's got to be playing with some confidence. And, of course, having already beaten the top seed Lipscomb earlier this season, they've got that extra layer of confidence as well.
Lipscomb entered the ASUN Conference Tournament on a ASUN best 4-game winning streak entering today. Stetson on the other side. They have been in the ASUN semifinals 4 out of the last 5 years. So this is a comfortable spot for Stetson. And as I mentioned, they are 5-5 the last 10 matches against Lipscomb. So this is definitely something, as you can hear the crowd starting to get into this, obviously going to be tainted the home team's direction here being at Lipscomb.
Talk about that pedigree of success for Stetson. This is kind of a different look team for them, though, under their second-year head coach, Emmett Rutkowski. Nobody really expected Stetson to have much of a chance this year. Picked to finish last in the preseason poll, and they really turned things around behind a lot of really talented young players that Rutkowski was able to bring in. You talk about their 4 selections to the All-ASUN freshman team. They got the freshman of the year, Nelson Pereira, and this is a team with a bright future. And I don't think anybody really expected them to contend this early under Rutkowski, but here they are.
Bagayoko sends it back, and now Lipscomb will switch sides. That one sent deep in the direction of Hayes Wood. Wood trying to track it down, but can't. Hayes Wood, a second-team All-ASUN selection this year. But again, we got them littered all over the field. We've got the ASUN Defensive Player of the Year, and let's not forget about the ASUN Freshman of the Year, Nelson Pereira, who actually led the ASUN in goals this year and points.
Yeah, he's a good one, number 9. Stetson definitely will try to work their offense through him, get him as many touches as possible. And, you know, for Lipscomb, their defense, they had him circled on the scouting report coming into today.
There's Brynus battling there. Brynus gets the advantage. Little advantage. Here comes Brynus working into the box. Gets it left side, centering pass, slips through, and now back towards the middle, and Lipscomb able to clear out. I think Stetson was offside. That was a dangerous opportunity for the Hatters there.
Brynus putting his hands to his face. They knew that was a great chance. Both Brynus and Pereira had a shot at that cross that was on the ground, and neither able to connect. Lipscomb catches a break.
You mentioned how important it is for Lipscomb to start off early. They've done better when they've scored the first goal. But they've had a week off. Stetson played here Friday night against Liberty, but Lipscomb getting the number 1 seed meant that they got a bye in the first round of the tournament. So hopefully Lipscomb can get off to a quick start, but Stetson might be able to take advantage of the fact that Lipscomb's had a week off just to rest.
There's Pereira trying to get a handle on that one. Can't, sends it back, and Stetson will try to reset. Yeah, you wonder, too, because Friday night a little cooler, too. Friday night, a little warmer this afternoon. Like I said, it's really kind of perfect temperature, I would think, for fans sitting in the stand, but also it's going to get a little warm out there with the sun for the players.
You talk about Stetson, a Florida team, and I don't buy too much typically into, you know, where a team is from and what the weather is like, but they did play in 40-degree weather on Friday night. You got to think they're a little bit more comfortable with the way that things are shaking out weather-wise today.
Brynus making a good move. Played almost 10 minutes in this one. Stetson's had the best chance here early. Here comes Hayes for Lipscomb. Still no shots in this one. Hayes gets past the defender, crosses it in the middle. Nobody home. Trying to track it down that time for Lipscomb is Bakari Bagayoko. He cannot, and so Stetson will get the ball. Hayes Wood, ASUN second teamer on that right side. Here's Golden now, Defensive Player of the Year. Hands it back to Cavalar. Cavalar, one of the ASUN on the ASUN all-freshman team.
Cavalar is going to be key to this game without Scott Golden in that defensive mid position. Cavalar and William Turner are really going to work off of each other.
Great touch there, and just missing. I mean, that one barely missed wide left as Nelson Pereira got loose in the middle, and Lipscomb lucky there.
They definitely catch a break. How about the pass from Allione to Spring Brynus? Delivered a perfect ball to Pereira. Sibley a step late and trying to come out. And a guy in Nelson Pereira, he does not miss many of those.
And you wonder if Stetson looks back on that one, because that one really looked like it was going to be the first goal of the game. But you see the talent from Pereira. Lipscomb works left side, backs it up to Luca Nauman. Nauman will reset with Turner. Play back to Sibley. Pretty far outside the box. Touch that time in the middle to Gio Rodriguez. Rodriguez, another one of those ASUN second teamers. Wintermeyer goes left side. Stetson with the only shot in the game so far. Over 10 minutes in here. First half, the ASUN semifinals. If Lipscomb wins this, they will host the ASUN championship next Saturday night. Sibley plays that one deep. Hayes Wood trying to fight that one with a couple of Stetson defenders. Lopez gets it to Bakari. Tripped up a little bit while he was in the box, but no call.
Really good defending by Wintermeyer there to at least end the Lipscomb threat for that particular moment.
Here's Golden. Nice footwork, looking for a crosser, gets it into the box. Lopez misses, and then that one's hit again and offside. Well, I'm going to say, I think they're going to say handball. Excuse me, handball.
A little friendly fire.
Yeah, that ball was hammered that time by, I think that was Hayes Wood.
It was, yeah. Javon Smith was in the way. It hit Javon, who quickly put his hands up as if to say, you know, I didn't get a hand on that.
Which usually is the telltale sign that you did.
Yep.
Now free kick for Stetson. So both teams, with the two shots we've seen in the game, have been high quality, high danger chances.
Really good chances.
Rodriguez sends it back. Touching it is Johnson Fakula on the all-freshman team as a defender. Smith gets it over on the left side to Louis Robinson. Back to Smith. Smith trying to get into the box. That one's going to be cut off. Swing it right side to Golden. Alane is holding there, no call. Now we are going to get a call. Maxime Alane was holding, and they're going to, now Lipscomb's going to have a great set piece here.
Well, I think Allione,
excuse me.
I've seen that with several defenders around the ASUN. It's tough to corral Noah Golden. Sometimes you need all the help you can get, and that time he kind of resorted to grabbing him, and Bisons do get the call. This is a really good spot for both Nauman or Golden, depending on who wants to take it.
And he made it too easy of a call for the ref to make. It was very visible that the jersey was being grabbed, and you really have to be careful in those situations. If you're going to foul, at least make it straight.
Here's Golden. He'll run past it. Nauman will send it in with a left foot. Back corner, Turner was coming in, and he kind of puts his hands on his head. If that ball is not headed back over the back line, William Turner's knifing in with what could be a header to the back of the net.
Yeah, that was William Suat, the captain, who was able to put a touch on it and prevent Turner from burying it. Lipscomb will have to settle for the corner.
Their 98th corner kick of the season. That's #1 in the ASUN. You look at these offensive numbers, most of these numbers, #1 in the ASUN and top 30 in the country. So this is not just great in the ASUN, top 30 in the country. Corner is long. It will be over the line. Hard to tell from our vantage point as Louis Robinson was trying to save it in, but first corner, no harm, no foul. And Gruber will have the goal kick.
You mentioned how high Lipscomb is, and not just ASUN statistics, but NCAA statistics. It's easy to see why they were ranked in the top 25 for a period of time. They had a couple losses that you knew just weren't true to who they were as a team. It's been a lot of mistakes that have cost Lipscomb this season, just very quick mistakes. They're a very talented team, but if Stetson can continue to attack and get the ball in front of the net in those kind of chaotic situations, that's where I think Stetson has the advantage if they want to win this game.
And it's still early. We're only 16 minutes in, but we're already seeing a lot of the same things that allowed Stetson to have success the first time these two teams played. It's the constant offensive pressure.
There's one sent back corner. Nobody there, but kept alive for Rodriguez. Rodriguez surveying for the Hatters. He'll send one into the box. It's touched out. And Hayes Wood sends it a little deeper into the offensive end. Stetson defenders inching up a little bit. Here's Gabancho. Pereira trying to get into the box there. A little upset, thought he was hindered by number 5, Honore Kalala. Kalala, the junior, 6'1" from Denmark. And this is really on both sides. This is good defenders on both sides, but maybe even better offensive players, so this is going to be fun to watch.
Dangerous pass from Turner over the middle there. Luckily that Pereira didn't securely snag it and put a shot on target.
Hayes Wood draws a foul near midfield. Just 2 total shots in this one. Neither side has gotten shots on goal technically, but both shots could have very well been goals because of one was hit just wide here by Stetson's Pereira, who had a great look on the other side. Lipscomb had one that ricocheted off of a hand that, had there not been a body there, it probably would have been a goal.
Yeah, you almost can credit a save for Stetson to Lipscomb's Javon Smith. Otherwise, I think Hayes Wood would have put that one in the back of the net.
Well, we know you can credit one of Stetson's goals last game to Lipscomb players, so
That's right.
that was the big issue you talked about. In that first matchup between these two teams, they played on September 25th, 2021. It was a 3-2 Stetson win in overtime. 2 of the Stetson goals came off of Lipscomb turnovers, one of which was a ricochet off of a Lipscomb player into goal. So, I mean, that's not even just a turnover. That's a turnover goal.
Yeah, that was an unlucky bounce off of Honore Kalala the last time these two teams played, where Stetson had sent in a cross. Kalala was trying to clear, just took an unlucky hop off of his foot and went into the back of the net. So you're talking about teams that score first. Stetson was able to score first and obviously go on to win because of that miscue.
The other stat in that one that may be a little significant too is Stetson outshot Lipscomb 16-13, and that's the other thing. Lipscomb this year is 9-1-2 when they're out shooting an opponent. So I think that's another one to look at, is just where are the shots? Who's kind of being that offensive aggressor? Because Lipscomb definitely wants to outshoot their opponent. Into the middle, here's Brynus. Right side, Turner able to cut it off and send it back towards midfield. A couple feet caught up there, no whistle. And I believe that'll be Lipscomb's ball.
And one thing that's been unique about Lipscomb's offensive approach all season long is the fact that there's not one player you can point to and say that he's Lipscomb's goal scorer. They've had a variety of people score. You've had Bakari Bagayoko, Javon Smith, Tyree Spicer, who's not currently in this game. You've had goals from the defense, Scott and Noah Golden both. And so it's really a team who's been able to ride through any sort of injury because of the depth that they have and how much each player in this team is unselfish, and they know how to share the ball with their teammates. And they really just, they don't care if it's them getting the goal, they care that the team's getting the win.
Kind of contrast that with Stetson when you got Pereira 8 goals, Spangler 6 goals, Bryanu 6 goals, and then Scattergood has 4. But other than that, I mean, nobody else really contributing offensively in terms of goal production.
You know who you've got to keep your eye on if you're defending against Stetson, and none better than Nelson Pereira, the ASUN Freshman of the Year, led the ASUN in goals, and a major threat on the pitch. Here's one in the middle, handled by Rodriguez. Tries to center this one, but a little too far, and Sibley will play it off his knees. Back to the middle. Bakari tries to touch it up to Lopez, and Lopez, I believe that's Gabancho who sends it back. Now here's Rodriguez. Stetson will try to reset. We've played over 20 minutes here in the first half. Both teams have had one shot, and that's it. Pretty even so far, though.
Got an update from the other semifinal. Justin, Central Arkansas just scored the early minutes of the second half, so it's UCA 1, Bellarmine nothing in the other semifinal.
Interesting there. If UCA wins and Stetson wins, then the ASUN championship will be at Central Arkansas. If Stetson were to win and Bellarmine were to win, then Stetson would be hosting the ASUN championship. So really all 4 sites are at play, depending on who wins and who loses. But these two teams really only concerned about what's happening right here on the pitch. Sent back to Johnson Fakula, over to Cabancho, moving on the right side. Now to Wintermeyer, and Stetson trying to just find that crack. Go to Rodriguez in the middle, being pushed by Cavalar, and Cavalar going to get whistled for the foul. Quickly to the left side. That one cut off nicely by Golden, and you see just that defensive skill back there. The ASUN Defensive Player of the Year. Foul there. Drawing at that time is Bakari. Bakayoko. Right side to Golden. Golden making sure everybody's on side. Gets him in the box. He'll send one towards the back corner, and wow. That one was pretty close.
Golden is so good. I mean, if you want to just watch one player as the camera kind of pans to the right, keep your eye on number 29 here on the near side. He is so tricky. He's got such good ball control. He can place a pass wherever he wants it to go. He had that game-winning assist to Javon Smith in the final regular season game against Central Arkansas the last time Lipscomb was on this field. He is just such a good player.
Back to Gruber. Lipscomb ball near midfield. These two teams have met 3 times in the ASUN tournament. Lipscomb is 2-1 against them. The last meeting, or excuse me, they met in the ASUN championship back in 2018. Lipscomb won 2-0. There were actually 4 players on this Lipscomb team that played in that 2018 championship. Of course, the Golden brothers, Louis Robinson and Jabowski.
And Louis Robinson isn't a name that we've called a whole lot today, but he is so crucial to what this team does and to the leadership of this team over in that left back position. He does a very similar job that Noah Golden does here on the right side. He played midfield for part of his time here at Lipscomb and is now transitioned back to defense, but he still gets plenty of attacking chances and is crucial in those. He's also another really good ball distributor for the Bisons, and so another player to keep an eye on the far side, number 7.
Turner let that one go out. Lipscomb will get the throw in and a battle around midfield. Honore able to knock that one. Kalala back into Lipscomb zone now. Another throw in for the Bisons. Possession, I would say, has been fairly even in this one. We really haven't seen either team kind of dominate possession so far. We've seen both teams had some chances. Now Stetson will have the throw in. Gabancho, center back, sends it deep. There's Pereira. He is onside, gets the ball. 3 defenders around Pereira, and I think you're going to see that a lot. Here's Hayes Wood. Wood tries to touch it up to Javon Smith, and now we've got a Hatter down. Hatters, they're going to blow the whistle to stop the clock. Believe is that, I think it's number 5, Steven Johnson Fakula. Fakula's down. My eyes were moving with the ball. I did not see what happened there. Just saw him go down, and now they're going to go check on him. Haven't called out any trainers yet.
Yeah, Johnson Fakula, really good player for Stetson. One of the young guns on this team that was brought in by head coach Emmett Rutkowski. You talk about the youth of this team. 28 players in either their first or second season. I was blown away when I went out and counted. And it's not like those guys are all on the bench. I mean, we see them on the field right now. You mentioned the 4 players named to the All-ASUN freshman team. Johnson Fakula, one of those 4, guy from England. And if he has to come out for any space of time, which it doesn't look like he will, that's good news for the Hatters because they need him back there.
A little slow to get up, but referee giving him the time there. So Johnson Fakula is up, and Stetson will play the ball. Just kind of keep our eye on Johnson Fakula to see how he's moving. He looks to be jogging okay, so that's a good sign for the Hatters. Under 20 left to go first half in this ASUN semifinal matchup. Central Arkansas, I think, still maintaining a lead over Bellarmine in that other ASUN semifinal game. We'll keep our eyes on that. Still leading, but now it's a 2-0 game. So Central Arkansas has taken a 2-0 lead over Bellarmine.
Yeah, Kareem Dial with both goals for the Bears. Still right around 30 minutes left in that match.
William Turner, Scott Golden out with the injury, so Turner getting the call from Coach Charles Morrow, playing some big minutes for the Bisons. Here's Pereira trying to find a handle on it. Pereira moving back into the middle. Again, attracts so much attention when he touches the ball. Battle, and that one's going to pop out of play.
One thing that's interesting about how Coach Morrow lines up his team is that we've seen a lot of different lineups from this team. He's never afraid to switch it up if there's a matchup that he likes better, or if there's an injury or any sort of rest that he sees one of his players needing. The one thing, though, that we don't often see in that lineup is that change on defense that we're having to see in the absence of Scott Golden. But these players know how to adjust to a different lineup. They all work really well as a team. As one of the subs for Lipscomb just came in on offense, Tyree Spicer, and he's someone that we've seen start a lot this season. So Lipscomb is able to adjust, and I think that's really serves them well all season long.
I think that was perfect timing, Erica. You talk about the lineup changes. Tyrese Spicer is a guy who's first team all conference. He's got 6 goals on the season. So for someone tuning in, oh, he's not starting, something must be wrong. No, he'll come off the bench, and that just speaks to the depth and talent that Lipscomb has, that a guy like Tyrese Spicer can come off the bench and everything's okay.
Yeah, he was tied for second in the ASUN in goals this year, tops on this Lipscomb team. And as you mentioned, he's coming off the bench, comes in for Javon Smith. So pretty nice to have that as, in basketball terms, your 6th man coming off the bench.
Right.
20, Tyrese Spicer.
So Spicer in, Javon Smith out. That's the first sub of the game. Still both teams with just 1 shot apiece. No shots on goal yet from either of these 2 teams. Pereira taps it back. Kalala battling with Pereira. Now they try to touch that one down. Great play by Turner there. That could have gotten really dicey for Lipscomb in a hurry. Trying to get it worked through the middle that time was Oliver Brynus. And Lipscomb able to collapse on that quickly.
But that initial move by Pereira really shows how talented of a player he is. For him to make a move and get around Noah Golden as quickly as he did, the Defensive Player of the Year in the conference, you know that he has incredible footwork and is just really talented with where he places the ball, which explains leading the conference in goals.
Spicer trying to battle in the middle of the box to get turned, to take a shot. Here's Brynus. He'll turn to his left side. Now he'll slow things down. Backs it up. Over in the middle to Rodriguez. Good sign. Steven Johnson for Kula touches that one. He looks to be okay, but we'll have to keep monitoring that.
One thing that stood out to me, Justin, I mean, you've got 2 of the best passing teams in the ASUN, showcasing why that is here today. I mean, we've seen very few mistakes, seen a lot of really good passes put into super tight windows.
Brynus sends one in the middle. Pereira, full-fledged, had his whole body linked out trying to dive and head that one in and just missed it by about a foot.
Pereira has to have 3 almost goals in this first half.
I know. Now Stetson going to bring in a couple of subs. We'll try to get those numbers here in a moment.
Looks like Spangler is 1.
Yeah. Ajmir Spangler coming in, and that's another nice guy to bring off the bench, a guy who's very talented offensively.
Luis Lara Delgado, freshman from Mexico City, I believe, is the other sub.
They do stop the clock. Now a discussion going on between Bakari Bakayoko and the referee. I'm not sure what that's about. They did start the clock back again. They stopped the clock for those subs in the discussion with the referee. Now we'll get back underway. And now we've got the wave going on at the Lipscomb Soccer Complex. I'm not sure I've ever seen that before, but fans getting into it here in this ASUN semifinal matchup. You wonder, Noah, if one of these teams can kind of grab some momentum, what can be that kind of momentum play?
Well, it's been a match of inches so far. We've seen both teams with really good chances, and this might be another one for Stetson as they get the steal, and now they're on a fast break.
Lara Delgado with it on the right side. Turner takes it away, at least momentarily, and that one's played back, kept in play. Touch to the middle. Here's Pereira. He's going to get past Turner, and he'll send this one just over the crossbar.
How about the acceleration from Pereira? He made the Lipscomb defender almost look like he was moving in slow motion. I don't know how he got to that ball and created that angle to at least have a shot on target and force Sibley to have to touch it and redirect it.
I guess Sibley did. I couldn't tell if he had a hand on it, but they're saying he did because it'll be a corner kick, first of the afternoon for the Hatters.
That's why Pereira and Spicer, I think, are very similar in the fact that once they get the ball, they just make plays happen. They're so electric. They just got that next level athleticism where they can create chances for themselves.
Ball sent long, but headed just high. Wow, pretty good look that time by the Hatters.
That was the big center back, Gabancho.
Yeah. Gabancho, first team All ASUN. Lipscomb gonna get another sub coming in for Rodriguez. Looks like it's gonna be Burl Shepard, I believe, coming in for Rodriguez.
In for the Bisons, number 11, Burl Shepard.
Golden, that one goes off his leg.
Early in the first half, we saw Lipscomb respond very quickly to Stetson's offensive chances, so it'll be interesting to see if they're able to respond here after 2 near goals by the Hatters.
Under 12 to go, first half action in this ASUN semifinal. Number 1 seed Lipscomb against the number 4 seed Stetson Hatters. If you're wondering, all time in the ASUN conference tournament, the number 1 seed is 10-3 against the number 4 seed. So the advantage, just if you're looking statistically, but again, as I mentioned, this is a Stetson team that has played really well against Lipscomb. And a Stetson team, if you look at the all-time numbers, they lead the series 12-7-2 all-time against Lipscomb, as Bakari Bakayoko goes down and he is writhing in pain. I'm not sure what happened, but he is writhing in pain.
It's not a good sign.
I mean, you can just tell from the distance we're at. It looks almost like he's holding, I can't tell if he's holding his face or not.
And he had the ball when he went down. It seemed like he was going to get a good chance on that left side, possibly a chance to cross it over to Hayes Wood.
I wonder if he kind of got a stray forearm to the face there as both those players were going for the ball. To go back to what you were talking about, Justin, about the series history, Stetson has actually won the last 3 meetings. And you talk about the seeding difference, Stetson had a chance going into their final regular season game. They were playing against Florida Gulf Coast. They ended up losing that game with Lipscomb beating Central Arkansas. Stetson had both the tiebreaker over Lipscomb and Central Arkansas. If Stetson had beaten Florida Gulf Coast, this tournament would be in Florida right now. It would be at Stetson because of the way that the Hatters took down both the Bears and the Bisons. And just that difference. You go from having a chance at the 1 to then being the 4 seed and having to come here to Nashville to play the Bisons.
Well, and that's what I was going to say. I don't think the seeding, the 1 versus 4, really is pretty meaningless, but the location may not be meaningless. You know, playing at home versus on the road can be a big difference. You get the home crowd, obviously, but just, you know, sleeping in your own bed. I mean, that stuff does sometimes make a difference. Now, I will say Stetson, very familiar playing on this field. Obviously, they played here earlier this year, and they did play here Friday night against Liberty. So familiarity with the field, not as much an issue, as Bakari Bakayoko will walk off. He does look like he's okay, and he does look like he's walking fine. So I think that was something. I think he, like you said, I think he may have been hit somewhere up high. And we'll see what Lipscomb does here. I think they're going to bring in number 16, Thomas Priest, redshirt junior from Signal Mountain, Tennessee.
And just as a reminder, if you sub out in the first half, you cannot return in the same half. So I think in an ideal scenario, Coach Morrow might want to bring back in Javon Smith in the place of Bakari Bagayoko, but because Javon cannot return until the second half.
Well, and actually, Bakari Bakayoko comes right back in after that ball is played, so he comes right immediately back in. So it was Priest actually coming in for Cavalier. Coming out, Sibley will have to make a play on that. I'm telling you, Nelson Pereira puts so much pressure on that defense. He's just got the speed and quickness to just continually press that backline defense farther and farther back.
That's a great point, Justin. If you haven't watched Stetson before, he kind of is a one-man wrecking crew in terms of what he can create offensively for the Hatters.
Under 10 to go, first half action, still no score. pretty even so far between these two clubs. Ping-ponged around there in the middle. Bakari plays it to Priest, who had just checked in, or excuse me, that is Shepard. Now Gruber, haven't called his name in a while. He picks the ball up. Gabancho, the center back, who has been really impressed by him so far in this match as well. Really controls that back line for the Hatters. Kabala just sends it back to Sibley, and again, who's there to put a little pressure on it? And just things like that, though, I mean, those can make a difference. You just put that little bit of pressure on Sibley. He doesn't make a great kick out of the goal. Now Lipscomb will get the ball there, but that can be, those little things can be the difference in a game sometimes.
It's kind of what happens when Lipscomb gave up the game-tying goal in the regular season to Stetson. It was just a matter of pressure being forced, as we see Hayeswood applying some pressure right here for Lipscomb. But that can force the defense to maybe make a mistake. And of course, Brynus was the recipient of a Lipscomb mistake when he scored that game-winning goal in the final 5 minutes of regulation that forced that match to OT.
And you see down there, Johnson Fakula had to dive there. He was very slow to get up. Of course, you know, he's already was injured earlier in this half, so kind of interesting. And you wonder if Coach Charles Murrow kind of keeping an eye on that right side, and you might see if you can get one, maybe outrun Johnson Fakula, just test his legs a little bit. Now foul against Lipscomb. Bakayoko.
Fans here don't love that call. They feel like both players just got wrapped up around the ball and tripped, but the foul is called nonetheless, and it's Stetson's ball.
Good news, though, it doesn't look like Bakayoko is having any problems from when he was injured.
Comment.
Moments ago, he was down writhing in pain, but it didn't look like it was anything with a lower body injury because you could still see his speed. Here's Shepard. Touches it back to Priest, trying to go down to Bakari. And now, I believe Bagayoko is going to get, now they're actually going to just check on the Stetson Hatter. Foul was against Lipscomb. I believe it's either the 5th or the 6th foul against Lipscomb. They did stop the clock. And now a little lecture going on between the referee and Bakari Bagayoko. Bagayoko, the 6'1" graduate transfer from Cumberland, originally from Bronx, New York. Touchdown, turn around, quick shot. That one way high, but Tom DiLorenzo with the look there, I believe. Sibley with under 7 minutes to go here, first half action. No score. Stetson has recorded 4 shots. There for a while it was 1-1 as far as shots go. But no, are you a little surprised Lipscomb has only registered 1 shot here in the first half?
You know, in terms of shots, yes, but they have been controlling it into the attacking third. They've done a good job of keeping possession. I think you have to credit Stetson for really locking down those windows of opportunity once they get in front of their own goal. I think Lipscomb has actually done a good job of keeping up pressure, though. They just need to continue that and hope for a breakthrough.
Wood, I'm not sure. Wood may have lost that one in the sun. He kind of fell backwards awkwardly there. Either that or just kind of misplayed and was trying to get out of the way.
And all shots are not created equal, right? You saw that last attempt for Stetson from Lara Delgado where it wasn't particularly close. It still kind of goes down as a shot. Lipscomb has done a good job of not trying to force anything drastic.
Yeah, only 1 total shot on goal by Stetson in this one. That one centered dangerously there. And now trying to get one on the ground, and there's a shot that just goes wide left. Pretty good look that time by Thomas Priest, one of the subs, and he'll get a round of applause from the fans. And that's the other thing, if Lipscomb could kind of get this fan base a little riled up, could help as well. Approaching 5 minutes to go, first half.
The way Priest settled that ball, I didn't even know if he would be able to get a good touch on that. And even though it was a little bit wide, it was good for Lipscomb to get a shot even near the frame, because it feels like it's been a lifetime since we've seen one from the Bisons.
Lar Delgado was trying to run one down. Now he'll touch this one up. Quickly taken away by Lipscomb. Here's Turner. He'll go cross side to Golden, excuse me. Golden surveying. Back to Kabala. Lipscomb doing a nice job swinging it from side to side here, trying to loosen up this Hatter defense. Under 5 minutes to go, first half action. ASUN semifinals. Winner will go to the ASUN championship game. That'll be next Saturday. If Lipscomb wins, they will host that ASUN championship game. Shepard touches it down to Spicer, and they're going to say Spicer was offside. Tyree Spicer, first team All ASUN, sophomore from Trinidad and Tobago. Cabancho, big kick there. There is Louis Robinson, who Erica mentioned earlier. Now Lipscomb going to be whistled for offside again.
I'm a little surprised by that offsides call. It seemed that Vicari was well onside, but
it did appear just from the naked eye there. Initially, there was a defender behind Lipscomb's offensive player. It won't matter in the moment, as now Lipscomb will get the ball back. 3:21 left to go, first half. Michael Sibley's had to make one save in this match. That's the only shot on goal. Nice defensive play there, no call, and Lipscomb will try to counter now.
Fantastic play from Shepard.
Here's Hayes Wood. Tried to touch one into Bakari Bagayoko. This one's stolen away, now a counter opportunity for Stetson. Coming out a ways is Sibley, and he'll send that one deep. Good pressure there. Cabancho, though, able to handle it. Cabancho's a big body back there, too, in the center back.
6'2", that's how you like your center backs to have some height, be able to be physical, but then showing off the ball control. That was a nice little deke move to get around the Bison.
Listed at 187. 6'2", 187-pound sophomore. That one into the box, and another dangerous look that time, as that one touching off the head of Lewis Scattergood.
on that
2 minutes to go.
On that last sequence, not only do we see a really good defensive move from Burl Shepard on the Bison's defensive third, but also in the offensive third, he continued to attack. He does a really good job of timing his speed. He's fast when he needs to be, but he doesn't sprint the whole game. He knows exactly when to time those sprints to make a move and stop the Hatters.
Foul whistled against Lipscomb. About a minute and a half to go, and they're not going to call offside, but that one goes right to Sibley. Sibley will now pick it up. Boot it away. One ricochets right over to Spicer, but then came a little too quick to him, unable to handle it. Pretty evenly matched first half so far. I think in an evenly matched half, when you're playing on the road, I think that's advantage to Stetson, though.
Absolutely, yeah. They've come out. They've been building on that momentum that they earned on Friday night in that quarterfinal win over Liberty. And if you're a road team playing against this #1 seed Bison squad, the one thing you don't want to do is give up an early goal, foul behind the 8 ball. And Stetson so far has not given up that early goal. They've hung tough. They've withstood some Lipscomb pressure, and for the Bisons, you've had chances, right? So you feel pretty good about what you've done in the first half so far as time continues to wind down. The big thing will be how the second half starts. Who comes out the aggressor? What kind of adjustments get made? I think Charles Morrow has a very good reputation in terms of adjustments and in terms of motivating guys and getting his team ready for the second half. The Bisons have scored the majority of their goals in the second half. So we'll see. I think those first 10 minutes of the second half are going to be crucial.
Battled around in the box, under 10 seconds to go, and Stetson may do good just to kind of clear this one out. So that'll do it for the first half. Pretty even first half. Stetson does outshoot Lipscomb 5 shots to 2. We only had 1 shot on goal that whole first half, but it was not because there wasn't action. There was still action in the first half. Pretty even, though. We'll go to halftime with the score tied 0-0. We'll take a break, 15 minutes. We'll be back with the second half. You're watching the ASUN semifinals here from Lipscomb. Potentially 45 minutes left to decide which one of these two teams is going to the ASUN championship game. Lipscomb and Stetson tied at 0 here at halftime. Justin Seaman back alongside Noah Severson and Erica Plunkett. And Noah, I'll start with you. Pretty even first half between these two teams. But we talked about it, an even first half probably favors the road team just as far as a little bit of momentum.
Yeah, really well played first half by both teams, but as you said, I think Stetson a little bit happier that we've got a tie score at halftime. They held their own in that first half. Lipscomb, I think as Erica mentioned early on, they haven't played in a week. Stetson, of course, coming off that Friday win, and both teams look pretty sharp. I came away impressed with their passing ability, their ball control ability. Both teams got their fair share of chances, but as you mentioned, as a 4 seed on the road, you're okay if things are really tight. You didn't want to give up that early goal. Mission accomplished. Now these first 10 minutes of the second half are really going to be important in terms of who's going to walk away going to the championship next weekend.
Erica, Lipscomb with just 2 shots in that first half. What do you think they're going to try to do offensively?
I think they're going to switch up the lineup. We already are seeing a different lineup up top for the Bisons. Javon Smith and Tyree Spicer together. We saw them at different times in the first half. I don't think Coach Morrow is happy with the first half. Even though they had good ball control, he wants to see offensive chances, and we didn't see any of that in the first half. But Lipscomb is a second half team. They've scored the majority of their goals in the second half, and I expect that trend to continue. I think the second half is going to be a lot more exciting for both squads.
Shepard and Priest also starting the second half. They finished the first half in the lineup, so Lipscomb going kind of close, except for with Javon Smith back in there with pretty much what they ended that first half with. Lipscomb will get an early touch here. Spicer trying to get it into the box, and that one cleared back away. Louis Robinson trying to keep it alive.
Erica mentioned how good Lipscomb has been in the second half this season. How about this stat? 19 of their 33 goals this year have come in the 61st minute or later.
Wow. Definitely a second half team, but again, Lipscomb also that team that likes to get that first goal on the board. They are 8-0 this year when they score first. Nine wins. They are 9-1-2 when they outshoot the opponent. And right now, that's, I'm sure, something Coach Morrow was talking about. Guys, we just got to get some more shots. Get some more shots because we were outshot 5-2 there in the first half. On the other side for Stetson, Nelson Pereira was probably the best player on the field for either team. That ball sent down his direction, and the message has got to be, let's just get it in his general vicinity and let him do some work. Pereira trying to track down that one against Golden. Only one of the Golden twins playing today. Of course, Scott Golden out with the injury, which has been pretty big loss for the Bisons. So good back there defensively, especially when you're trying to deal with a guy like Nelson Pereira, the ASUN Freshman of the Year. Spicer, great move in the box, but an even better defensive play that time by Wintermeyer. Another one into the box, it slips through, and grabbing his head that time is Burl Shepard. He thought he had a pretty good look at that one.
That was a great ball, great service. A couple of white jerseys in the vicinity when it landed, and as you mentioned, Shepard might have had the best shot at it.
Lipscomb trying to apply some early pressure. They'll have a throw-in in their zone. That time called by the referee. I'm not sure exactly what's going on. There's a now the ball will be thrown in. And Gruber smartly comes over and just going to play it safe and grab that ball. Turner played it off his chest. We talked about Scott Golden. Turner's been the main guy to come in and have to play. No foul called there. Suet touches it back to Gabani. Rhinus down into the box and now offside as Pereira touches it.
Talk about that solid first half for Pereira. Brynus was effective as well. And those two are going to be at the point of attack for Stetson, and look for the Hatters to get those two the ball. Let them be the playmakers as they have been all season long.
is Brynus. Quickly converging on him is Lipscomb. Spicer battling in the air. Gabani now with it. Gabani on the all-freshman team as well with Nelson Pereira. Here's Brynus. So twitchy when he gets the ball. Really quick feet. Here's Pereira in the box deep, trying to get a handle on it. Turns again, touched and coming over. Honore Kabala able to kick it out of harm's way, but Pereira almost a little too much time and space there in the box.
Yeah, solid defending from Kalala. Di Lorenzo had a chance rather there, and good sequence from Stetson in the attacking third. Again, Pereira and Brynus working in tandem, and then their teammates coming up to support. Really good opportunity there for Stetson.
Now we're going to get a corner kick for Stetson. It's Brynus who sends it. Golden will get a head on it. Kalala will keep it in play, and it'll be a goal kick now as he kicks it off of a Hatter. So Lipscomb avoiding disaster there as Pereira got deep into the box, but able to defend him, and now Lipscomb will try to counter and get it back in their offensive end. Just over 5 minutes gone here in the second half. Still no score here in this ASUN semifinal. We'll keep an eye on the other semifinal. It was down in the final 5 minutes. Central Arkansas was still leading 2-0. We'll take a look at that score momentarily. Here's Golden battling. Ball going to be knocked out. It'll be Stetson throw in. That ball is going to be headed, and Sibley was there. I think he would have made the save if he had to, but he doesn't touch it, and it goes wide right. But again, after Lipscomb kind of started the first 2 or 3 minutes, you talked to Noah about the first 10 minutes being important. You saw Lipscomb in the first 2 or 3 minutes. Now you're seeing Stetson push back. It's
really been the Hatters on the front foot, the numbers that they've committed on the attack, and it's paid off with a couple of good sequences. That other semi just went final a couple of moments ago. Central Arkansas beating Bellarmine 2-0 to put the Bears into the championship match. This is a team that was picked to finish second to last, and now they're in the championship match next weekend.
And now they will be hosting the championship match if Stetson is able to win this one. So Central Arkansas probably right now going to have a little bit of a rooting interest for the Hatters. Although I'm sure they'd like to get a rematch against this Lipscomb team as well, who defeated them in the final game of the regular season to earn the #1 seed. Lipscomb, of course, will host the championship if they're able to win this one. Stetson has not won an ASUN title since 2009. They're looking for their third ASUN title all time. They hadn't won it since 2009, but remember, they lost in the ASUN championship to Lipscomb back in 2018, so they've been there as recent as 2018. Robinson heads it to himself, now goes far right side, a little too far for Golden. 8 shots for the Hatters, 4 for Lipscomb in this one. Lipscomb still has yet to record a shot on goal in this match. Nice little move there by Javon Smith. Good touch over the right side, getting it in the box. There's Spicer heading it, and it's good! Spicer heads one into the back right corner, past Gruber, and Lipscomb takes the 1-0 lead.
Mr. Electric does it again. Cometh the moment, cometh the man. That's Tyrese Spicer, number 20, to give the Bisons the lead, and I have to go back. Fans wanted a foul call. That's why you don't blow the play dead. You play advantage. Bisons kept playing, and they end up with a 1-0 lead.
Yeah, they played the advantage because you could hear the fans upset, but you're right. They played the advantage, and the great pass that time by Hayes Wood centers it from the right side and just angled that one right inside the right post, and Tyrese Spicer time of the goal, 53 minutes and 33 seconds.
And you don't often give refs a whole lot of credit. Sometimes there's more animosity, but the ref made the right call, playing advantage. Initially, I believe it was Javon Smith who was held up. You could see his jersey being pulled, and the ref just elected to play advantage. The fans got upset, but then that set up the goal opportunity that Hayeswood passed into Tyrese Spicer, exactly what Coach Morrow was looking for. And now the pressure is on Stetson.
Pereira trying to answer quickly. That was the 7th goal for Tyrese Spicer. He leads the team in that category. Here's Spicer again. This time he's going to touch it to his counterpart Wood down there, who just assisted on that goal with a beautiful crossing pass into the strike zone for Tyrese Spicer. And you're not going to see a header much nicer than that from Spicer.
It's gorgeous. And what we said at halftime, right? First 10 minutes are going to be crucial. How many minutes into the second half does Spicer put that one away? 9 minutes into the second half.
Now Lipscomb will look for more, leading 1-0. Louis Robinson surveying, trying to get some men into the box. Smith, nice little footwork there. He'll send one cross into the middle, and nicely played defensively to avoid the corner there to kick it back out. Here's Pereira, has it taken away momentarily by Priest, but good play deep in the box by the Hatters. So Lipscomb, on their first shot on goal, hit pay dirt. They lead it 1-0 here in the ASUN semifinals. Now we'll see what Stetson can do. Little more urgency, you would think. Still plenty of time, but just you don't. And Noah, this is one thing. With all this time left, you don't want that goal to just put that complete sense of urgency where you start making mistakes. They don't want to do that, but it's okay to have that sense of urgency.
Well, you can certainly tell with the crowd now into it, the momentum resting squarely on Lipscomb's side, and you kind of saw that get to maybe Stetson a little bit. That was an errant pass picked off by Spicer. Stetson needs some sort of response. It doesn't have to be a goal right now, but they need some extended possession. They need a couple chances in the attacking third to get that confidence back.
You would think it would come from Pereira or Brynus. They've kind of been the most active forwards for Stetson. Here's Spicer again, great touch to Smith. Smith, he'll send one in, back corner! And Smith gets a second goal for the Bisons in about 5 minutes time.
Justin, when it rains, it pours. Spicer again, Stetson on a mistake. They pass it right to the Bison. Spicer finds Smith. Javon taking his time, works his way into the box, gets it to his stronger right foot, finds the angle. And Lipscomb, I mean, they are cruising right now. A couple great sequences coming out of that halftime intermission.
2 goals separated by just over 2 minutes of game time, as Javon Smith gets the goal for the Bisons. Smith, and now you're going to see Stetson huddling up after that second goal, and now this is major collection time. As what are we going to do? Are we going to push back here in this ASUN semifinal?
Well, and you see that conversation being led by one of the oldest guys on the team, the keeper, Jacob Gruber, grad transfer from Indiana University, originally from Indiana, and he was the one in the neon shirt that was leading that charge as he tried to fire up his group.
So Javon Smith, assisted by Tyrese Spicer, time of the goal, 55 minutes and 53 seconds.
Well, Justin, you mentioned how confident Lipscomb is when they're playing ahead. You can almost tell that they've sort of changed. There's more energy from the Bisons. They seem more confident out there. And while after 1 goal, it may not be desperation time for the Hatters, it seems as if after 2, it might be, because Lipscomb seems to have complete control of this game. They're playing with more energy than the Hatters are right now.
So the first goal by Tyrese Spicer, time of that goal was 53 minutes and 19 seconds. Second goal happens just over 2.5 minutes later at 55 minutes and 53 seconds. And we talked about the coaching decision. We talked about talk about the player you're bringing off the bench in Tyree Spicer in the first half, and then the call by Coach Charles Morrow to start him alongside Smith in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of those big adjustments. You talk about the energy that they bring on the attack, both super quick and both have a nose for the goal. I mean, they are not afraid to let it fly. And for Stetson, I mean, you got to think that second Lipscomb goal was really a product of the first one. They looked kind of rattled and made that errant pass that directly led to the Lipscomb break.
That ball right to the keeper, Gruber, who handles it easily. But now, again, Stetson, well, you still have time. There is still time in this game, 32 minutes, but it gets more challenging now, down 2-0.
How about the last couple weeks that Javon Smith is having? Had a couple of assists against Mercer in their second to last regular season game, had the game winner against UCA last Saturday, and now he gets another goal here in the semis against Stetson.
And Noah, it's interesting to see how Javon has come back because he did have to miss a few games in the middle of the season, started off the season hot as well, as Stetson gets a chance here.
Pereira sent one ricocheting off a Lipscomb player, and now you're going to just see Lipscomb corralling defensively around the top of the box. Kalala inside the box but controlling it, gets it over to Golden, and he'll clear it. Now we're going to get the first substitutions of the second half, and Stetson's going to bring in 3 new bodies. And you'll see this often when you're down, try to get some fresh legs in to try to make something happen.
Yeah, head coach Emmett Rutkowski just looking for a different vibe right now. Something's got to change.
Gabriel Toro, one of those substitutions, number 27 on the all ASUN freshman team.
Number 21, Charles All, and number 27, Gabriel Toro.
Brynus, nicely played by William Turner, not giving Brynus an advantage down there. He'll have to throw it in. Turner plays it over to Spicer. Spicer trying to work back middle. That one cleared out by Priest.
Justin, you mentioned how Stetson wanted to get a change in this lineup and how crucial that is. Coach Kevin O'Brien of Lipscomb's women's soccer team, who just won the ASUN championship last night here on this field, he made the point that during the regular season, he doesn't feel like coaches should try to change up who they are as a team. They should test their team against their opponents based upon how they play, but he said in the tournament that all changes. And so I expect both these coaches, if it gets late in the game, for them to go into a little bit of desperation mode, and they're more than willing to switch up the lineups when the season is on the line.
Yeah, potentially a little bit more scramble mode, you would think, for Stetson, as that one popped into the box, and Turner really, I think getting a little word from Sibley there, Sibley wanting to play that one so it doesn't end up being a corner. Turner kicks it, so it will be a corner kick. Again, what's at stake? Winner of this one heads to the ASUN championship game next Saturday night, November the 13th. Be a 7 o'clock Eastern start on ESPN+. If Lipscomb holds on to the win, it'll be played here at the Lipscomb Soccer Complex. There's one cornered in, and was that Pereira who got a head on, or Gaban? I think it was Gabancho. Sent it just wide to the left, but a pretty good look there by Stetson. Under 30 minutes to go in regulation now.
And now is the time of the game. Obviously, we have an eternity left, but if you're Stetson, now in the back of your head, you're thinking of all the chances that could have been, and that was one right there. You think back to the first half, Pereira had 3 golden looks, including one where he was one-on-one with the keeper that he just placed wide of the post. All that now starts to bubble up, and it certainly will have an impact on these final 28-plus minutes.
John Smith touching it. He had the second goal to make it 2-0 for Lipscomb. That one mishandled momentarily. Pereira trying to get a handle on it. Now Lipscomb with some numbers. Good touch down into the box, but maybe a better defensive play by Gabancho. Smith was ready to get loose again. Under 28 to go now. Throw in for the Bisons. Again, Stetson leads this overall series 12-7-2 against Lipscomb. They have kind of had the Bisons number too. They've won the last 3 games against Lipscomb. As that one again, dangerous inside the box.
Smith was feeling himself. Thought about maybe a mini bicycle there.
Priest clears that one out, and Lipscomb will be happy to do that here down the stretch.
No, you're absolutely right. I think Javon Smith may have missed an open teammate there in pursuit of what would have been a very impressive goal.
Look at the goal differential between these two teams. Lipscomb plus 13 on the season, Stetson plus 8 in the goal differential. These have been 2 great offensive teams. So right now, Lipscomb only cares about one thing, and that's holding on to this 2-goal lead they have right now over Stetson. Again, we mentioned that stat that Lipscomb this year 8-0 when they score first. So good omen for them.
And I think for Lipscomb, you talk about the bad taste left in their mouth from that last match against Stetson, feeling like you gave it away, especially late, holding a 2-1 lead, just 5 minutes left. I don't think Lipscomb is going to make the same mistake this time around.
Here's Toro tripped up just outside the box, does not get a call. Maybe a little bit of a flop there, it looked like potentially from Toro, but he still did get his feet tangled up, but no whistle. And now maybe reversed, and now there's got to be a foul there. As it is, it's going to be
red.
That's going to be a red. He was heading straight in, nobody in front of him, Tyrese Spicer, and that'll be a red card.
And that might not be for excessive physical contact, but when you look at the rules, clear goal scoring opportunity. Spicer had a path to the goal.
Yeah, there was nobody
right
anywhere within the zip code, and you feel for Stetson a little bit because, you know, on the other end there was a little bit of a questionable call right outside the box, and now that is a huge loss because that's Gabancho.
I mean, that's your defensive leader. I mean, that's an all ASUN selection there that's walking off the pitch.
So Alvaro Gabancho with the red card, he will have to exit the game. It was not inside the box, so it's not a penalty kick, but still, it's about as close as you can get to being a penalty kick. But Stetson will get to set up a 4-man, make it a 5-man wall.
Just a disastrous last 12 minutes for Stetson.
It'll be Noah Golden taking, we think, the shot. It is Golden, and man, what a save by Gruber. That one ricocheted off his hands right back towards Lipscomb, and now another foul call. Trying to plead his case that time, I think, is Turner. But again, I mean, this is just, for Gruber, you talk about tough situation to be in.
That was a fantastic save, though. Stetson is going to need him big time here again.
And he makes another great save. So 2 good saves in a row, but again, Stetson shorthanded with the red card by Gabancho. And they're down 2-0. Lipscomb throws in the box off the head, and that one goes in the back of the goal. And I think that it's going to be Burl Shepard. That one bounced around the head of a Lipscomb Bisons. It looked like there were 2 or 3 defenders. Quite frankly, I wasn't sure if Shepard even got a foot on it. I couldn't tell if it went off of one of the Stetson players, but Shepard, he clearly was the one who got the goal because he ran over to celebrate with his team. And Lipscomb, 3-0.
I couldn't quite tell who the Bison was. Erica, you may have gotten a better look at it, who intentionally headed it back for his teammate. Couldn't quite tell who that was that's going to be credited with an assist, but credit Shepard, not the biggest of guys. You wouldn't think that he'd be the one to get to an aerial like that, but he buried it.
So they're given 2 assists, Louis Robinson and Hayes Wood.
So Robinson with the corner, and then Hayes with the header,
And actually, I think that wasn't even a corner. I think it was a throw-in. I think Robinson had to throw into the box that went off the head of Wood, and Shepard gets the goal. And now Lipscomb running away with this one with the 3-0 lead.
Justin, just to draw the parallel, I mean, are we kind of seeing some deja vu from the women's semifinal?
This is
last Sunday.
This was such a tight game between the two, and then now Lipscomb exploding here in the second half.
I mean, the storyline is kind of creepily similar, right? I mean, Eastern Kentucky had beaten Lipscomb in the regular season, and then that game was tied 0-0 at halftime. Lipscomb, the women, ended up putting in 4 second-half goals to run away with it. Lipscomb, the men, up 3-0 here on Stetson, but, I mean, just a completely different team here in the second half.
And again, Alvaro Gabancho, the major center back, had to exit the game with that red card, so Stetson down a man. So what was already tough is even tougher now for the Hatters. Here's Nauman. Ball touched in and coming over quickly, and that's where Gabancho normally is, so having to come over quickly for Stetson is Gabani. And that's got to be hard because you're used to having a player in a spot, and then, at the last second you realize they're not there.
Not something that you practice a whole ton.
And Stetson, who would love to have numbers up on offense right now have to bring back one of their midfielders to play that defensive role. And it changes up their whole strategy for the rest of this game, not to mention Lipscomb tacked on another goal. So things kept going from bad to worse for the Hatters.
Under 23 minutes in regulation. If Lipscomb holds on to win, they will host the ASUN championship game here next Saturday night. We already know who the opponent's going to be for either one of these teams. It'll be the number 2 seed, the Central Arkansas Sugar Bears. Pereira. Excuse me, that wasn't Pereira. Stetson would like to get it to Pereira, the ASUN freshman of the year, but as Gruber able to come over and grab that one. Spangler in the middle. Gets it back to Rodriguez. And that's a foul called, and that's a good call there, that one.
The one thing Stetson has going in its favor is it seemed after the first 2 goals, and then obviously as a part of that, the red card, they really just seemed to be completely out of control, didn't really seem to have a lot of rhythm or communication within the team. And it seems like after this 3rd goal, they've really settled back down and are passing the ball well. We mentioned one of the top passing teams in the ASUN. So to see them bounce back and be able to do well, they need to finish this game well. Noah, you mentioned how young this team is. This is so important for them to build towards next season, even if they aren't able to come back.
That one headed high that time as Alex Turner tried to find a header, won't go. You look at this Stetson team, and you can tell after that first half, they had 5 shutouts this year. I mean, this is a very good defensive Stetson team, but when they're playing Lipscomb, the top offensive team, you can see just how quickly Lipscomb can strike. I mean, Lipscomb didn't look all that threatening in the first half. They make a little tweak to the forwards there in the second half, and all of a sudden it's like fireworks going off.
And they're so balanced, too. I mean, they can kind of chip away at you. They keep possession. They pass well. And then I think you use the perfect phrase. It's that quick strike ability where you blink and suddenly you're down 3 goals to none. And a big part of that is the play of their dynamic forwards.
Again, these two teams met September 25th of this year on this same pitch. And Stetson had the 3-2 win in overtime, and you knew that that was in the back of Lipscomb's mind. And now, getting into it a little bit there was Gabriel Toro, kind of turning at the crowd, the official kind of giving him the look that time that every parent has given their children before.
I think the center referee was just a little bit surprised because he called the foul against Louis Robinson, who wasn't thrilled with that call, and then Toro comes around and sort of gives Robinson a little bit of a push-off. And the referee was frustrated with that because he felt like, I gave you your call. Why are you reacting like that?
Under 20 to go in regulation. 3-0 Lipscomb leading over the Hatters here in this final semifinal. Central Arkansas has already punched their ticket to the ASUN championship game, just awaiting the winner of this one. And right now, Lipscomb in complete control. How interesting will it be, though? And you know Central Arkansas is going to be chomping at the bit if it is Lipscomb because of that kind of maybe bad taste in their mouth, losing that final game of the regular season against the Bisons. That final game, it was a 1-0 victory for Lipscomb on October the 30th.
Yeah, last Saturday, Javon Smith, sorry, Erica, that Javon Smith, that game-winning goal, and he's continued that strong play here in 2 today. I mean, he's playing his best ball at the right time of year.
And that was such a competitive match. That goal came in the 97th minute, so golden goal overtime victory for the Bisons. It was a very competitive match the entirety of the game, and so I expect to see another matchup if that is what we are able to see Saturday night.
Bakari Bagayoko back in the game. That was the move that Coach Morrow made. Instead of starting with Bagayoko, they go with Javon Smith and Spicer, and it pays off for the Bisons. But now, nice to bring another great forward off the bench. Here are the Hatters working left side. Stetson has outshot Lipscomb in this game, but again, that's one of those stats that in a lot of ways can be very meaningless. They've outshot Lipscomb 11-10, but you look at the scoreboard and that really doesn't mean a lot. Here's Spicer now, ton of time and space. Remember, Stetson down a man and it's their defender Gabancho. Spicer again! Crisscross, and he scores. How about that? The cherry on top from Tyrese Spicer.
The power that is in that foot. Gruber didn't have a chance. Wintermeyer in a tough position, trying to go one-on-one with one of the best players in the conference, and Spicer just made it look easy there.
2 goals for Tyrese Spicer. Time of the goal, 72 minutes and 48 seconds.
Tyrese Spicer is that deadly combination of really good foot skills and also a whole lot of speed. I think he hit 22 miles per hour in one of the games earlier this year.
Spicer going to go over and get a high five, and he will exit the game after that goal. 4-0, Lipscomb leading with under 18 to go. And again, the massive absence of Gabancho back there showed up on that play.
Guy didn't even play the first 30 minutes, Justin. He's got 2 goals and an assist.
Again, just shows you the depth of this Lipscomb team as well. The fact that Spicer, again, he came in midway to the last 25 minutes of that first half.
Number 9, Marlon Grossman, and number 10, Alejandro Lopez.
So Lopez and Grossman come in. And now Lipscomb can taste the ASUN championship as about 16.5 minutes away with a 4-0 lead. Lopez, nice ball, touches that one down to Louis Robinson, and Robinson will play it off Toro. Another sub coming in. It'll be Cavalier for Lipscomb. He'll check in for Luca Nauman. And again, all the time the ball's way down here on this end. That's just more time bleeding off the clock. Ball thrown into the box. Here's Golden trying to get that extra touch. Nice play that time by Gruber.
For as dominant as the ASUN Defensive Player of the Year has been, 7 assists, he still doesn't have that goal this season. He was thinking about it that time, though.
Yeah, he had that kind of extra touch. It almost looked like he could have gone ahead and taken one shot there, but just an extra touch, trying to create a little more space for himself. 15 minutes to go in regulation. Lipscomb dominating, 4-0. They lead over the Hatters. Nice play there by Louis Robinson. Again, Stetson had a big win on Friday night against Liberty, 3-0, and you just wonder, hard to tell. I really can't. I think a lot of this is more about Lipscomb, less about Stetson as far as any fatigue or anything like that, because they did play on Friday night. But you got to think, if there was going to be a question about fatigue, it would have probably come around this part of the game, and you would have hoped, if you're Stetson, that you could have been right in the game at this point. But unfortunately, Lipscomb just striking fast and furious here in the second half and up 4-0.
And it's harder when you're down a man, too. I mean, Gabancho getting that red really, really hurt Stetson. I mean, trying to make up a 4-goal deficit when you're playing 10 on 11, and the guy that they lost, Gabancho, I mean, that's your first team all-conference selection. That's your center back. That's your leader on the back line. And so losing him, I mean, obviously everybody else has to kind of pick up their pace and cover more area, and that certainly takes a toll fatigue-wise as well.
Well, and remember, though, the time he got that red card, I think it was a 2-0 game when he got the red card. So, I mean, I don't really fault Gabancho, because it was clearly he was beat on the play, and it was going to be probably 3-0 if he doesn't take that red card. You know, you never want to do it, but at the same time, he's thinking, my only play here to keep my team at least potentially in this game is to prevent just an easy goal. And not going to turn out that way. So, you know, in a lot of ways, it wasn't a malicious red card by any means.
But no, it's exactly right. The center backs don't get all of the stats. They're not the goal scorers. They don't get the assists. They kind of are in the back. You forget about them. It's kind of like linemen in football. But they are so crucial to everything that your team does, and they really command offense and defense, and they're the primary communicators with the goalie. And so for Lipscomb having to adjust this game without Scott Golden, and then now Gabancho being out for the Hatters, it's definitely a challenge for both of these teams, but more so for the Hatters.
Ball touched around in the box, but cleared back out. Stetson just having to commit so much defensively that whenever they get possession, there's really nobody there on the offensive end to really do much damage. And we talked about Stetson, 5 shutouts this year. Lipscomb now starting to kind of think about their 4th shutout of the year. They've had 3 so far, under 12 to go. Of course, the Lipscomb women's soccer team winning the ASUN championship game on this field just last night. Going to be pretty special for this Lipscomb program if the men looks like are going to be playing the ASUN Championship on this field next Saturday night. Throw in from Golden. Impressed with William Turner, who's come in and done a nice job defensively for Lipscomb. We talked about Scott Golden. The other half of the Golden twins as Noah sends that one into the box. But you lose an ASUN, as we've seen with Gabancho, an ASUN first teamer, not due to a red card in that situation with Scott, but because of injury. Turner's come in and done a nice job.
I'm really glad that you brought him up because he has held up well. You know, it's not easy replacing one of the best defenders in program history, but Turner has held his own. And going up against really good players like Brynus and Pereira, you knew that he was going to be challenged. And you know, obviously in that first half, had a couple passes that were errant, but I thought really in terms of his positioning and in terms of his instincts, they've been spot on.
Talk about shots, 11 to 11, but here's the big distinction. 7 of Lipscomb's 11 shots have been on goal. Only 1 shot on goal this whole game for Stetson, and that came back in the first half. They haven't had a shot on goal here in the second half.
And Justin, I think another key is that Lipscomb's first 2 shots on goal were both goals.
Excellent point there, Erica, and that one Toro offside. As we are under 10 minutes to go here as Lipscomb, they've already got their permanent markers out ready to put their name on that top spot in the bracket moving into the championship game against Central Arkansas. And what a match that's going to be next Saturday night. If you're in the Nashville area, come on out. That's going to be high intensity, high drama. Top 2 teams in the ASUN. That's what you want in a lot. I mean, that's what you want. You want that ASUN championship game. You want that conference championship game to be the 2 best teams in the regular season. And both Lipscomb and Central Arkansas were the 2 best teams in the conference.
It's going to be a heavyweight bout. Lipscomb obviously with the best offense, Central Arkansas with the best defense. That's going to be a lot of fun.
You mentioned Central Arkansas's defense, but 3 of the back 4 for Lipscomb are all on the first team for the conference. Louis Robinson, Noah Golden, and Scott Golden, who his status is unknown for Saturday's game. But Lipscomb, their defense is underrated. We'd like to talk about their offense with Javon Smith and Tyree Spicer and Bakari Bagayoko, but their defense has made that possible all season long. Also, we'd like to apologize for the sun flare. The sun is directly facing the Stetson goal at the moment, so that's making it a little bit difficult for the camera to see, and it's also making it difficult for Stetson's defenders and their goalie to be able to see Lipscomb coming on offense.
And a little difficult for us to see, but that's beside the point. So
that's why there's 3 of us.
Exactly.
In for the Hatters, number 20.
Lipscomb now definitely content with just passing the ball around, taking as much time off the clock as possible, and Stetson, unfortunately, seeing the writing on the wall at this point, down by 4.
How about the season for these Hatters, though? I mean, nobody gave them a shot, predicted to finish last in the ASUN. They come out, they take down the 2 top teams, both Lipscomb and Central Arkansas in the regular season. This is a team, we mentioned 28 players in their first or second season. This is a very young, very talented team with a super bright future under their head coach, Emmett Rutkowski. I don't think they're going to be picked to finish last next year.
No, and you can just see the talent just oozing, starting with Pereira, who is, I mean, arguably, you got to think he's going to be in the conversation for ASUN Preseason Player of the Year next year with just his offensive skill. Of course, the ASUN Freshman of the Year in his own right was a first-teamer this year. But go back to that. You talked about it, the tactician, Charles Morrow, making some adjustments at halftime. And just those slight adjustments with Spicer and Smith, and just the way they came out to start this second half. Stetson, again, has not won an ASUN championship since 2009. Doesn't look like it's going to happen again this year. Their postseason record looks like it's going to drop again as well. They were 13-21-4 coming in postseason games. Looks like they're going to drop their 22nd game. Now we're going to get another substitution for Lipscomb. Now they're going to stop the clock. After about 20 seconds went off the clock, now they've decided to stop the clock.
I think there may have been a little bit of a miscommunication. I think Sibley came down to take the ball and pass it to one of his teammates, and the referee thought it went past the baseline at the end.
So the referee drops it in the box and allows Sibley to play it. And Lipscomb definitely content with just playing a little keep away at this point, I would think. Again, this Lipscomb team, #1 in the conference in shots, goals, shots per game, shots on goal, assists, and corners. When you're #1 in the conference in all those offensive categories, that means you're having a pretty good year. Offside that time is the call against Lipscomb. That was Marlon Grossman, the 6'2" freshman from Germany who was trying to sneak by. Under 5 to go here in this final ASUN semifinal. Be interesting to see, too, how the game plays out next Saturday night between Lipscomb and Central Arkansas. You mentioned it, kind of an offense versus defense, and those are always fun in whatever sport you've got, kind of which prevails, offense or defense. But again, as Erica mentioned, this Lipscomb team, although they're so talented offensively, they got a pretty good defense as well.
They got a really good defense, yeah, and I think Erica said it correctly that we sometimes maybe underrate them because of how good the offense is, but the table gets set because of the play of the defense and because of guys like Noah Golden, who delivers another excellent service.
Cavalar hammered that one down with his head. Carlo Cavalar, the 5'11" freshman from Germany as well, on the ASUN all-freshman team. Under 4 minutes now. Academic at this point for the Bisons as they will move on to the ASUN championship game.
Coach Morrow has really come in and developed Lipscomb into one of the top programs, not only in the ASUN, but also in the country, regularly competing with some of the top schools. They had an NCAA tournament appearance 3 years ago that ended in the Sweet 16 at the University of Kentucky, even with a chance to win that game, as they get another chance here that Stetson clears. But I think one reason he's been so successful in that is he's not only recruited players here in America, but he's recruited a ton of international players. In fact, 9 of the 11 starters today were international players, and I think they've brought a lot of the love of the game here and really helped develop the culture.
And another chance is that one. Unable to go that time for Lipscomb, as Burl Shepard, who does have a goal in this game. 2:46 to go. Lipscomb starting to empty their bench a little bit. But you mentioned it, Lipscomb had the best start this year in program history. Let's don't forget that. At one point, after the first 4 weeks, Lipscomb was ranked number 18 in the United Soccer Coaches poll. And they've been ranked in the Atlantic Division every week since that time, most recently jumping to number 3 in the Atlantic Division poll. So this has been a team that's starting to get some national recognition.
Well, and the word around the program early on, you know, when they started out and were in the top 25, talking to Lucas Panziga, who's called a lot of these games, you know, he said that Coach Morrow, you know, was saying this team is as good or might be even better than that 2018 team that obviously went to the tournament, won a game, got to the Sweet 16. So we'll see if the Bisons have another similar run in store this year.
goalkeeper having to play that one outside the box. Again, Stetson down a man because Gabancho got that red card midway through the second half, with Lipscomb already leading 2-0. Lipscomb has since added 2 goals. Deep run there. One of the better balls we've actually seen from Stetson as far as just trying to get a deep run on it that time, but Lipscomb there to play it. There's the ASUN Defensive Player of the Year, Noah Golden, who quietly's had another great game for Lipscomb. Minute and a half to go here in the ASUN semifinals, as the number 1 seed Lipscomb Bison's going to be moving on to the ASUN championship game next Saturday night, and they will take on the number 2 seed, the University of Central Arkansas, newcomer to the ASUN this year.
Central Arkansas will be fired up to play this Lipscomb team. They want to redeem that season finale where they lost here in overtime. One thing to remember, when they came into that game here at the Lipscomb Soccer Complex on the last Saturday of the regular season, they were number 1 team in the conference. They had 15 points going into that game, and Lipscomb had 12. The only way Lipscomb got this number 1 seed is with that win and the tie break over the Sugar Bears. So if Central Arkansas had come into that game and even gotten a tie against Lipscomb, they would be hosting the championship game on Saturday. So I think they're going to come in here with a lot to prove. So Lipscomb's got to be ready for that attack from Central Arkansas.
How significant that Lipscomb does get that win on the last Saturday, and as a result, they get to host the ASUN championship game.
Well, and they needed Stetson to lose, too. And Stetson lost to Florida Gulf Coast. If Stetson had beaten Florida Gulf Coast, there would have been a 3-way tie at 5-2. Stetson would have gotten to be the number 1 seed, and we could be looking at maybe a different pairing in the championship match if that had been the result.
So with that final second going off the clock, what a second half from the Lipscomb Bisons. This game was tied 0-0 at halftime, and then Lipscomb struck fast and furious to take the 4-0 win. In the 53rd minute, it was Tyrese Spicer getting the scoring going. Hayes Wood and Burl Shepard with the assist, 1-0 Lipscomb. Then 2.5 minutes later, Javon Smith strikes Tyrese Spicer the assist. Lipscomb goes up 2-0. It was the red card. Gabancho goes out. Stetson shorthanded. Then Burl Shepard gets the 3rd goal, assisted by Hayes Wood and Louis Robinson. And then the cherry on top, Tyrese Spicer. What a goal to finish it off. He gets 2 goals in the 72nd minute, and Lipscomb cruises to the ASUN championship 4-0, and we've talked about it. It'll be a rematch, and it'll be the number 1 and number 2 seeds in the ASUN conference. And Noah, that's what you want heading into a championship game.
It's going to be a lot of fun. That one's going to be tight. And if we have anything like we did in the last regular season game, an overtime golden goal, I mean, we are set up for what could be a historic instant classic type of game next Saturday.
How special, too, the Lipscomb women win last night on this field. They're going to the NCAA tournament. Now Lipscomb men, they have a chance to make it both the men's and women's team going to the conference championship, Erica.
That would be so special. That did happen 3 years ago, and it was such a special time for the Bisons. The basketball team went on to the NIT finals that year. It was just a really great year, and all of the teams are constantly here supporting each other. The women's soccer team here today, the men at the women's game last night. And so I think it means a lot for both of these teams. In that 2018 year, if it does fall that way, both teams not only made it to the NCAA tournament, but had wins in the NCAA tournament. So an exciting time for Lipscomb athletics, and these mid-major teams continuing to prove that they can compete at the highest level with the top teams.
Survive and advance. That's always the mantra when you get to tournament time. Lipscomb has done just that, and they'll play for all the marbles in the ASUN next Saturday night, November 13th. It'll be the number 1 seed Lipscomb Bisons against the number 2 seed Central Arkansas on this field here in Nashville, the Lipscomb Soccer Complex. That'll be a 7 o'clock Eastern start, 6 o'clock Central start. That'll be on ESPN+. So Lipscomb moving on, the 4-0 win for Erica Plunkett and Noah Severson. I'm Justin Seaman saying so long. Your final score, Lipscomb a winner. They're heading to the ASUN championship game. They win it 4-0 over Stetson.